Good morning. So, almost approaching the weekend. It's Thursday, and today I have someone who got his first computer at the age of 13 and he's been coding since then. It's funny because so many of us experience and play with so many different things, but coding is definitely a skill that is top in the market these days, and it's something that makes you stand out. So, let's welcome Eugene on 10 Minutes of Hiding Wisdom, where he will tell us about what he's learned along the way, where he works, and if he has any advice for all of us. Eugene, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. And it's
Of
kind of funny.
course.
Thanks for that intro. When I first wrote that getting a computer at 13 was something that's fairly impressive, right? You kind of look back when I did get it, and it was early 2000s, and getting a computer was a big thing. And my parents had to work really hard to kind of be able to grant that to me. But I think right now I'm looking at my daughter, and she's 3, and she's already kind of interacting with technology. And I think many of us had to go get to like high school or university to start learning how to code. But I think right now kids are starting to do that at elementary level, which is kind of cool. So there's definitely like a head start for them, and I think we'll get better engineers as a result of it.
I think so. I think usually at a young age, the brain is much more plastic, so it's much more malleable. So it's much easier to learn different skills and then eventually learn more. But I'm just curious, coding wasn't something that was common years ago. So what got you into coding? Where did the interest come from?
I always like to build things. I kind of started off building physical things, and when I was doing my degree, I figured I may as well kind of do it digitally, so to say. And back then, the decision may have been made for me more so by just having a job that helps the family out. And along the way, I just started to really enjoy it. And I've been in the space for over 12 years, and I don't think I would last this long if I wasn't passionate about this.
Okay. And did you learn coding yourself? What kind of resources did you use? Because I think there's at first there was not a lot of resources, but now there's an abundance of resources. So I think choosing one is the hardest part itself. So what resources would you tell people to use who are starting out on this journey to learn how to code?
I think I would answer this question more backwards than not, and I think the one thing that internet kind of exposes you to is just plethora of information, and lots of times there's so much to choose from that you get this like selection dilemma. I would say if you want to learn how to code and you're fairly passionate about it, I think you should just reach out to an engineer and ask them to be a mentor. And it's kind of funny that if somebody will genuinely reach out to me or just any engineer at a tech company, I think many of us would just say like, yeah, let's chat for 10, 15 minutes. Like, let me set you up and kind of tell you what your next five steps should be. So I would say engineering is just such a diverse spectrum of like where you can start and what you can start with. It's one of these things where like I don't like to use the word expert, but speaking to somebody who does this for a living, you're more likely than not get good insight.
That's true. But usually, when people reach out and everything, a lot of experts, for instance, in this field are so busy, they get thousands of messages. So, how should you write to them in a way that you will more likely get a response as compared to other messages that are like sitting in their inbox?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good question. Just because in a pre-COVID world, we had like all kinds of meetups and whatnot. Look, I think social media can take you a long way, right? Because these same people are around on Twitter or somewhere else, and like genuinely, people want to help even if they're super busy. So they may just passively point you to something. And look, it's kind of funny, but you have to be persistent and. there's obviously lots of challenges when it comes to doing anything, but I just remember like graduating during the last recession and having to look for a job. I had to send out about 800 resumes, right? Whereas the tables have kind of shifted, where right now I'm having challenge staying employed with one company because recruiters are reaching out to me one way or another, and therefore, like, look, there has like there's certain things that you can't go around, which is like just persistence and hard work, and diligence. Just reach it. Like it's one of these things where you're gonna have to send a lot of mailers, but if you're genuinely like just an individual that just wants help, uh, uh, go for it, and like start reaching out, and just write your questions. Just like say, hey, you're an expert in this space. If you would have to start learning how to be a developer, what would be your go-to source? Very happy to take more recommendations. That's what I would write. It just sounds genuine, and I would respond to something like that.
Okay, well, thank you for being so helpful, Eugene, because I think so many of us do want help when it comes to different subjects, but we're just scared to ask. And it's great to see that people like you are always willing to help and extend a hand to others. So thank you. My next question, Eugene, for you would be where do you work? What exactly does the company do? And is the company that you're working with hiring?
Um, so I work at a company called Conjure, and we're in the furniture leasing space. I don't think we're ready to hire engineers yet, although we're hiring across other verticals such as operations and customer experience. But I think if all goes well and we do get this sufficient funding, like engineers will certainly be among those who we would hire.
Okay, and how did you get involved with the company? Did you know someone in the company that already worked there? How was the recruitment process and hiring process for you like?
I didn't. I stumbled upon Conjure on one of the hiring websites. I don't remember which one it was. But it was a pretty straightforward process just because when I was looking, I was part of a very successful startup. And I've kind of went through a journey which was similar to the one that this company was about to go through, such as like we have no tech and where do we start, and I was able to answer those questions, and that's yeah, that was kind of the story.
Well, it worked out for you, and I'm glad that things have been going smooth. And I do wish that the company gets its funding so it can hire amazing talent. But
Thank
other
you.
than that, Eugene, we usually like to keep things short. Our time is up. It was an absolute pleasure learning from you about your journey and how far you've come along. Thank you for actually extending a hand to others and making sure that you can do your part in the community. But I hope you have a great rest of your week and a great rest of your weekend. Thank you.
Sounds good. Likewise, thank you.